Morning, guys. Daniel Cook here again. I'm your host, leading Long Way Round show. This morning, we've got a great guest on, Dallas Collis. He's had a really interesting life and he's had a lot of ups and downs and he's overcome a lot. And he's written a couple of books, which is really cool. We thought we'd get him on the show this morning to have a chat about, what he's been up to and his past and how he's been able to overcome some of those traumas. Introduce yourself, Dallas, and tell us a little bit about yourself and your childhood and what you've been up to lately.
Thank you, Daniel. It's great to be here.
Yeah.
What does everyone want? I mean, every human being alive, I believe, wants the exact same thing from their life. We all want to be healthy, happy, peaceful, loving, just enjoy a happy life. Could you agree with that?
100%. Yeah, to feel loved, to feel connected, to feel joy, to feel, purpose, all those types of words for sure.
Yeah. People will work 50 years at a job to get to retirement so they can do what? Relax.
Yeah.
Not have worries and fears and concerns and just get to enjoy life finally.
Yeah, that's correct. Yep.
Well, if it's everyone's destination, then we know the purpose of our life. And it's the same for everyone. So the question becomes, what are you waiting for?
Yep.
Why isn't everybody healthy, happy, peaceful, and calm today? Right now? What's the reason? The reason is also universal with every human being. You, Daniel, are a story. I am a story. Our history, everything that's happened to us since childhood becomes a part of a story that we identify as.
Yep.
So that when I meet Daniel at a party in person and I'm introduced, I say, nice to meet you, Daniel. Can you tell me something about yourself?
Yep.
And what do you begin doing? You begin telling me a story about Daniel.
Yeah. What do you do for work?
That's a part of the story of Daniel.
Yeah.
Because if Daniel's a plumber, well, Daniel isn't a plumber. That's a part of a story, an act that Daniel acts as a plumber. There is a human being behind the story.
And we all want our story to feel, we want to feel that our story is okay, that we are enough, that we can fit in, that we are okay. Like if I'm a laborer or if I own a business, we may feel more or less confident about our story, I guess. So that's, definitely an interesting way to look at it.
I think everyone, and me included, has traumatic events, usually very early in life. We come out of our childhood with what we call emotional baggage, fear, insecurity, self-worth issues, confidence, all these things nag at us. We carry it with us in life. And some people go to their grave, never looking into that bag, just carrying it and feeling the weight on their body and their mind. And for some people, that's very heavy. I was abused emotionally and physically as a child. I came out of my childhood knowing I wasn't good enough. I was a failure. I wasn't going to live up to anything because I wasn't good enough. And I was angry and pissed off at the world. And all of us get to our first addiction. You, me, and everybody else on the planet has the same first addiction. What is that? It's blame.
Yeah, wow. Yep.
We use blame to protect ourselves. I blamed school. I blamed the church. I blamed Boy Scouts. I blamed summer camp counselors. Then I ended up blaming my friends. And then I blamed my boss. Then I blame my partner. I blame the economy. I blame the government. You can even blame the weather for a bad day.
Yeah.
We use blame as an addiction, a safety system, so that we don't have to take responsibility for that baggage that hurts, that we don't want to face and try to understand.
So I guess in everyone's life, there must come a time where they can either continue on that road or go, hang on a minute, I got to change because I don't want to potentially keep going for my own self, but for my family, my children, my grandchildren, etc. And some people just push it down, push it down, push it down. and continue on, and some people rise up and overcome. And that's sort of why we're here, to talk about that stuff.
You said some people push it down and push it down and push it down. Well, we all do at some time in our life do that.
Yeah.
And that pushing it down, if you play that out, that's called suppressing your feelings. Suppressing them is depressing them. Depression is a result of suppressing your feelings. We suppress them so long that we get a pressure in the body and it can't take it anymore. It has to be released.
Yep.
So it's released by depression, which suppresses all your feelings and leaves you empty and void of that, which is a terrible feeling. Or the body expresses it through disease, obesity, heart disease. For me, I got lucky. I woke up one morning with cancer.
Oh, wow.
What a fabulous thing, because it begins to open the door. It's telling me you have to deal with this baggage, with this pressure, with this pain that you've been going through and holding on to for 50 years.
Yeah. So, I mean,
it's saying enough.
Yeah. When I was younger, like in my 20s and even early 30s, like I wasn't even aware of some of these emotional thoughts and feelings. Like obviously I was struggling and going through stuff, but not all men, but some men, we potentially grow up later or mature later. And you need to have a certain amount of emotional stability or emotional intelligence to even be able to start looking at this stuff, or even be able to, know it's there. You know what I mean? Like I didn't even know some of this stuff was there when I was younger.
And it's not just men. Women have the same issues, I guarantee you. Change with sex.
I appreciate that. But I guess sometimes women do mature earlier than men. But
yes.
We're both
Absolutely.
men, so we're talking about men, I guess, but we're talking about life in general. It could be anyone, but yeah, it's men and women. We all go through things.
So that cancer started what I call the year of life collapse. Over the next 12 months, I went through cancer and surgery and treatment. Then my wife and I split. I lost my house. I lost my family. I lost my business. I ended up alone, broken. I'm an alcoholic. Did I mention that? And suicidal, all in 1 year, 12 months to the day in the pandemic. A great year, because it totally destroyed the life that I thought I was. The story that I believed about me was lying on the ground, smoldering in ashes. So what was I going to do?
What was your life like before you had cancer? I know you had a business, and it sounds like you had a pretty good thing happening, but maybe you didn't realize that there was a few issues underneath. Is that sort of right? Or?
Oh, no, I knew. Everyone knows.
Yeah.
Everyone knows, even if they don't express it. Everyone knows inside what's going on.
But I guess what I'm saying is, like, sometimes success can hide things more than, like,
yes.
If you're really struggling and unemployed or really, barely making ends meet and blah, 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 you might have the same issues as someone who's got, 50 guys working for them and a great business and all those types of things. Same issues, but more hidden because of your success. So that's what I'm sort of getting at.
Certainly, from the outside, we have a house. We have a successful business. We have cars in the driveway. We go on vacations.
Yeah.
We have 2 beautiful children.
Yeah.
We look normal.
Mm-hmm.
We look middle class, successful, see them on TV, the people that you're supposed to be.
Yeah, yeah.
Under the roof of that house was a nightmare.
Gotcha.
2 alcoholics, 2 drug addicts fighting like cats and dogs. It was a horrendous life. It was terrible. It was a horror story.
Okay.
So we don't see, even in our neighbors, we can think they're just the most normal people, and we have no idea what's going on when they close the door.
Yeah.
And that's going on all over the place. People are struggling, and lots of people get through it, find a way to keep treading water, and you keep going. And we can deal with an amazing amount of pain in our life, get back up and go to work, put on the mask, do the job, face the world, and keep going. And inside, it's an absolute mess. You're falling apart, but on the outside, I'm a tough guy. I'm using discipline. I'm tough. I can get through this. I'm strong. And really, it's a bunch of BS.
When I've been like that myself, I call it like living in survival mode. You know what I mean? You're sort of, each day you're doing it, you're going to work, you're living off, coffee, Red Bull and cigarettes and whatever else.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? You're just surviving. That's it. You're surviving, you're making ends meet, you're getting your bare essentials done. But on the inside, you're dead and you feel, you're not feeling joy. You're not feeling happy. And that's a miserable place to be. And like you said, people go through it for 30, 40, 50 years. Like that's not a very nice existence.
Some people go to their grave with it. They never do it. They never face it.
It's really living out of fear mode, living with anxiety, living with fear, constant on eggshells, constant anxiety, a horrible place.
Right. So let's return to the story.
Yep.
I call it the story mind.
Yep.
You have a story mind and I have a story mind. And it is that self-identification of who we think we are based on our history.
Yep.
As beings, we live by our history. Everything we do today is based on what we know. And everything we know and believe comes from yesterday, from before, from what we learned in life. So here I am at the end of a year where everything I believed about myself is gone. The whole person I think I am is ruined. And I'm listening to a podcast one night, and the man on the podcast is talking about consciousness. He says one line, I dropped the knife on the floor. I almost fall down on my knees. He said, show me yesterday. That was it. Because for me, I right away said, well, everything, my whole life is yesterday. What is yesterday? Where is it? Can I go to the cupboard and pull yesterday out and go, look, Daniel, here's yesterday. What do you think? There's no tangible thing. There's no wrench in the toolbox that says this was yesterday. There is nothing. Yesterday, our whole entire life before this moment that you and I are speaking is a memory, is an imagined past. It doesn't exist. It's not real. But my belief in that story almost killed me. How could the belief in a story kill somebody? That's how deeply we believe in our stories. The self-image of who we think we are, our identity is this story. We believe it so completely, we die for it. People go to war. Why? Because they hate someone on the other side of the world? They don't know them. They go because they believe a story that their whole culture is believing. And they're willing to kill each other, their own brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
You're willing to treat people certain ways based on your story, your beliefs. I'm willing to have my whole life fall apart, my marriage, everything, lose my kids, you name it, because of a story I believe. That reality, when it becomes true to you, the past dissolves. Your history is no longer. It doesn't exist. I don't need a story. Why do I need a story? You don't have a story in this second, right now. Daniel and Dallas are speaking over the internet from two different countries, and we are here together in the same moment. When we are here, you cannot be there in your past, thinking about yesterday, or in your future, worrying about tomorrow. You can only be right here. And our whole life is right here. Yet we carry this baggage from the past or the anxiety about tomorrow. And they're both false realities that don't exist. You will never live tomorrow, ever. You will never live in the past, ever. It only happens today. So all the pain, the frustration, regret, trauma, anxiety, fears, insecurities are completely an illusion from beliefs in yesterday and imagination about tomorrow. Wow. They don't exist right here with you and I right now. You're not sitting here going, oh, geez, I shouldn't have said that to so-and-so yesterday. Oh, my God, I've got a meeting tomorrow. I got to worry. You're not doing that. You're just right here. If you stay out of your memories and stay out of your imagined tomorrow, there are no problems. There's nothing wrong with life.
Yep. So, I mean, is it about the lens you're looking at yesterday through, or is it about just completely ignoring yesterday? Like, how do
It's,
we use
yeah,
this? Yeah.
you don't ignore it.
Yeah.
50 years ago, I suffered some physical trauma.
Yep.
That's a fact. It happened. How did that trauma get here today? If I'm suffering today, how did it get here?
Through your memory.
Right. I put that trauma in a bag, threw it over my shoulder, and carried it with me for 50 years. So who's responsible for the trauma? The person that hurt me 50 years ago, or me for carrying it?
Yeah, for carrying it.
We are responsible.
So,
We use blame to say, this person hurt me 50 years ago. It's their fault. And my doctor told me I've got a psychic wound.
yeah.
It's bullshit.
So do we need to look at the accident as if that happened to me, that was bad, but through that, if I have the right mindset, it can create positive things and I can help someone, or those types of
No,
things? Or how do we, like let's say hypothetically,
this,
let's say I went to prison when I was a kid, right? Do I
yeah,
look at it as if that was bad, that was, negative, that was, really a yucky situation? Or do I look at it as if I went there, I learned something, I can grow from it, I can use it as positive or negative depending on the way I look at the situation? Or how do we practically use your, methodology of, overcoming these stories in our mind? How do we practically do it?
you believe you were hurt. You've got to understand that right there. You believe it. What is a belief? Daniel believed things 10 years ago he doesn't believe today. He will believe things in 10 years that he doesn't believe today. What is the truth of a belief? There is none beyond you holding it and believing it. The meaning you give it. It has nothing to do with anyone else or anything else. So the practicality is not a technique. It's not anything like that. The truth is, it happened 50 years ago.
Yep.
It hurt. It
Yep.
upset me. It angered me. It hurt. It was unfair. All true.
Yep.
But I am the one who made the belief in that pain something I needed to own and keep.
Yep.
That's me. Then nobody else forced that to happen. So I have to uncover the truth of the belief.
Yep.
And when you look at the belief, there is no truth. The truth is, I carried it. It was my responsibility. I owned it. I took care of it. I protected my pain and my fear and made it who I think I am. I am this traumatized person. We live in a culture that supports you in your pain. Daniel, I go to a hall this evening to speak to 500 people. I walk out on stage and I say, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dallas Collis. I was badly traumatized as a child. I went through years of pain and frustration and worry and anger. I turned into an alcoholic. I did drugs. I lost my wife, my business, my home. My whole life collapsed. I came close to suicide, but I got a hold of myself. And I stood up and I was strong. And I'm working on recovery and healing. And I'm here to show other people that they too can get through it and survive. Daniel, I go to a hall this evening to speak to 500 people. I walk out on stage and I say, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dallas Collis. I have no trauma. I have no fears or insecurities. I have no pain, no frustration, no anxiety, no regrets. My life is happy every day. Every moment of my life is wonderful. I love this life, this world, all the people in it. Everything is wonderful. And the whole audience goes, what a weirdo. That's the world we're living in. The broken, unhealthy, disordered, dysfunctional human is normal and supported. The healthy, fully functional human being who has no concern or worry or fear is seen as something wrong with them. Yep. In that little example, we must see our own story is that. You are the actor on the stage telling your story to yourself over and over again, saying, yes, that's me, that's hurt, that might be broken, that might be not as confident as I want to be, who other people have hurt and hurt me in the past, and I blame. And we believe that story, and we say it over and over, and we live as that story. But the truth is, it's not true. It's a lie. We have fallen into believing it.
Yep.
When I was 20, my best friend was killed.
Okay.
And I felt terrible pain, grief, mourning. When I look at that now, I see that grief and mourning as me feeling a loss, something I felt I possessed. I cannot possess anything like that.
Yep.
This is a belief in my mind that's creating the pain. My mother died 3 months ago.
Okay.
2 hours before her death, I looked into her face and I saw love, beauty, and I felt happiness in my heart.
Yep.
There's no grief or mourning because a beautiful life.
Yep.
And the life goes on. And all it is the beauty of our lives.
Yep.
And that's, if you see that, any grief, any hurt, any pain, the emotional attachment is me attaching meaning to another person.
Yep.
And so when it's taken away, I'm hurt. You didn't love me. You broke my heart. You can't break my heart. You can't hurt me. You can't make me happy, sad, angry. You can't do anything unless I give you the power to do that. I own the power, but my story tells me I don't. Because since we're little tiny children, we're told to see everything in the world outside of us. I call it externalitis. It's a disease. You need to get stronger, be tougher, achieve more, buy this thing, find this partner, have these children, get this house, achieve, grow. You know, everything is out there.
Well, it takes a responsibility off the person. And I know I've been guilty of it as well. You know, like when I go, I couldn't read and write, blah, 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 this and that, my dad died, all these different things. I'm putting I'm taking the responsibility off myself, and I'm saying, well, it's okay that, I might be struggling, or any of these types of words, because all this happened to me. But in the reality is, like, who gives a shit that happened to you? It was bad. It's not good. But either I can live today and be happy, or I can keep continuing to take the responsibility off myself and blame everyone else and all the past and all the bullshit. So, yeah, in reality, do I want to keep living like that, or do I want to move forward? And in the moment, in today, do I want to be happy? I want to be happy. You know what I mean? I don't want to keep blaming the buck on the schooling system or my mother or my father or any of that stuff. So I get what you're saying.
But it's not a cutting them off. My dad died. I really miss him. It's a loss, but I don't carry the pain of the loss, because the pain is what I create. Loss is loss, but what is its meaning? That's what you decide. I can say, wow, I got to spend those years with my dad. He was a great guy. Yep. I really appreciate that time. And there's wisdom I take from my dad today. Yep. And isn't that wonderful? All I should do is celebrate his life, not mourn his loss. That does no one any good, and only ends up you creating meaning of pain in yourself.
Yeah. Well,
that isn't true. It doesn't exist. It's another belief. It has no reality outside of you believing it.
Well, I mean, I lost my father, probably, I don't know, maybe 14 years ago. And anyway, at the time, I vividly remember it. And I knew people at the time that had lost their parents, 20, 30 years later, and they were still in the pain and living their existence through. And I thought, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be 20 years later still.
Yeah.
Like basically my whole life based around that one tragic event, Yeah. So you don't want to be like that, eh?
Do you remember the fires in LA back in January?
Yeah. Yep.
There was a newscast one night, and the background is that charred black neighborhood behind them, right? Looks like a war zone been bombed,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a young reporter, and she's got a woman maybe 35 on one side of her and a man about 75 on the other.
Right.
Turns out they're father and daughter.
Oh,
they
wow.
live 3 blocks apart.
Yep.
They both lost everything. All their possessions gone.
Yeah.
The daughter is weeping. She is distraught. She is broken, so upset, just shivering, pain and misery and tears, and trying to speak to the reporter and saying, I've lost everything. Everything I own is gone. All my memories and my histories in that house, my kids, everything. I've lost all this beautiful stuff. My whole life was in that home. And then the reporter notices that the man standing beside her almost has a smirk on his face. And she's sort of shocked and says, sir, you don't seem to be upset by any of this. And he shrugs and goes, it's just stuff. If you wanted a picture of attachment, the woman was so attached to stuff that stuff meant who she was, her self-image, her home, her car, the furniture, the possessions, the big TV in the house, whatever. She was attached to that stuff, and she was terribly hurt because it had been taken from her. The man was not attached, maybe because he'd reached an age, as you do when you get older, and you begin to see that this stuff doesn't really mean anything. It's not who we are. And in this story is the same thing as someone whose parent or friend or someone dies, and they are that woman. They put so much meaning in that person, like a possession, that now it's taken from them and they're hurt by the loss. It's exactly the same. We place this meaning externally in people and things and events and achievements. And we look at all these things like trophies on our wall and say, that's me. Look at me. Aren't I great? And we go online and go, look at me. Look what I'm doing. Tell me you like me. Everything external. And so when we don't get the fruit of that labor, when someone doesn't say you're great, when someone doesn't love us, when we get rejected, we're upset because we're hurt, because we placed our meaning outside of ourselves. When your meaning is in you and you know that nothing can hurt you, it's impossible. When you know that, I mean deeply know it, I say, Daniel is the most important person on planet Earth. More important than your children or your wife or your parents or anyone else on the planet. Why would I say that? That sounds selfish and self-centered. If Daniel wasn't here, there would be no planet for him. There would be no children to tell them that you love them. There would be no wife to tell you love her and hug her. Nothing happens without you. So you have to be the most important person on the planet. And so are the other 8 billion people. We are all the same person. We are the same loving, beautiful person who just want that peace of mind, happiness we spoke about at the beginning. That's all the journey is about, is being there. You have nowhere to get to. We don't grow. We're not going to change. We're already here. There is nowhere to be or to become. We are here. We're simply covered up by a story we believe. Behind that story is the beautiful, loving, happy person as they were born, as they will die. In between, we get caught in the drama of this weekly television series that we can't get away from. We can't turn away from the car accident. We've got to stay in the drama. And that's what we're caught in.
No, that makes sense. I appreciate it and I hear what you're saying. So can we talk a little bit about your books that you've written? Let's have a little chat about them. Is any particular one you'd like to chat about? Or?
Well, they're sort of a series. This was the first book because it's about cancer, which is the first thing I had to face. The second one is called The Step System because I realized to rebuild my life, I had to take very small steps. You can't grab the whole cake and try and eat it again. It just doesn't work that way.
No, it's a process, isn't it?
Yeah, and that led me into, it's called Fit 5 Life, Live Long, and that was about getting healthy.
Okay. Yep.
In all the areas of, physical, food, mental, social, and sleep. If you got those 5 areas figured out, you're going to be doing pretty well.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. Especially the sleep thing.
And that naturally led me to where I am now. And this is called The Gift is the Present.
Wow.
And that's about, I call myself a 16-hour coach.
Okay.
And the reason I do that is because if you have 24 hours in a day and you sleep 8 hours, you have 16 hours of time to be alive, to be conscious, awake, on your feet, living your life. In that 16 hours of life, we do our whole life. You get up in the morning and get dressed and clean up and get breakfast and look after kids, deal with your wife, go off to work, she goes off to work, whatever. You deal with people at work, you come home, maybe you have an activity you like, a hobby, you read, you watch something on TV. Your whole life happens every day.
Yep.
But what if it only ever is one day? What if you see your life as one day? That's what I did. And I said, okay, in 16 hours, could I go for a 30-minute walk to be healthier? Yeah, I could probably do that in 16 hours. I think I could put in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. When you get to the fridge, could you pay attention and eat just a little better and not so much junk and crap that you put in your mouth? For one day, I could eat better.
Yeah.
Okay, for one day, could you really put focused effort into your work, to paying for that roof over your head, clothes on your back, and food in your stomach? Yeah, I could go to work and do a really great day for one day, just one day. When you come home, could you show your wife real love, really be there for your children? Could you call a friend and ask if they need anything? Could you really be involved in your social family life? For one day? Yeah, I could do that. So for one day, you could put up with any of the crap that could be in your life. You could just not go there and do a really great day, couldn't you, for one day?
Yep.
Well, guess what? You wake up tomorrow and you get another gift. And you only have to live one day and do the best you can for one day.
Yep.
And if you keep doing one day over and over the best you can do, guess what? Life is perfect.
Yeah, I agree.
And you only have to do it one day.
Yeah. Well, that reminds me, in the 12-step fellowship, they talk a lot about one day at a time. I don't know if there's an old Christian song, One Day at a Time. One day at a time, sweet Jesus. That's all I'm asking of you. Anyway, but yeah, so that makes complete sense. One day at a time, do your best, keep moving forward, you know what I mean? And not living in the past and not, letting that story dictate your future, essentially.
Yeah. The difference is I used to wake up in the morning and first thing was, oh God, I shouldn't have done that yesterday. Oh, somebody's going to be angry with me today.
Me too.
Oh, and I got to do this today because tomorrow I'm going to have to blah, blah, blah. So I'm starting my day racing between memories, imagination, and the present. It's no wonder our bad mood just comes out of nowhere and we think, I don't know why I'm in a bad mood.
Worrying about money and have I got enough and this and that and whatever else. If I got enough money today to, get fuel in the car and food in the fridge and a roof over my head, like that's enough. I'm going to be okay today. In a week, will I maybe have troubles? May or may not, but that's down the track. Let's worry about that next week. Like today, I'm okay.
Or don't worry about it ever.
Yeah, 100%.
What for? It's not going to change anything.
No, that's right. That's right.
Nothing in the future happens because it is from our past.
Yeah.
You see, we live from our past, everything we have known. When people say to me, yeah, I've got these goals and plans in the future and I'm going to do all this stuff. And I say, you're doing it right now.
Yeah.
I can read your future. What are you doing right now? That's it.
Yeah.
You can't do something different because you can only do where you are. You're here.
Yeah.
This is a fantasy we get stuck in. This is the story that says things will be better tomorrow. I'm going to be a better husband. I'm going to be a better boss or employee. I'm going to work harder. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to eat better. I'm gonna. No, you're who you are right now. That's what your gonna is what you are. You have to take responsibility and say, this is me and I'm happy with it.
What's your 16-hour day look like at the moment, Dallas? What are you up to now? Are you doing much speaking events, or are you doing much coaching, or are you what's your life look like at the moment?
I have several coaching clients, mostly online.
Yeah, cool.
But I spend most of my day writing. I'm
Yeah.
working on a new book, and it takes a lot of work to write a book.
I imagine it would. Did you write any books before you sort of managed to turn your life around, or is it? But were you a big reader? Were you a big writer? Okay. So, but I mean,
it just happened. It just starts coming out.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing.
And it was, when I started going to the gym and eating better and trying to get my life back together. And then people at the gym would come to me and go, wow, you're making a lot of changes. What's going on? How do you do this? And I'd be giving advice. And I'm like, who am I to give advice? I'm just trying to figure it out. And all of a sudden you realize everybody's looking for help in some way. And so all of a sudden I'm helping people train and I'm giving them diet advice. And it just keeps snowballing. And then I came up to this same roadblock with every single person. Something that's in the way is always this story.
Yeah.
Is always dealing with the baggage. Keeps coming up in everyone.
Yeah.
Almost all the people I coach now are between 50 and 65 years of age. And they all come to me for the same reason. They went to university or college. They got a good degree. They had a good life. They had the family, the house, the cars, the vacations. They did everything. Everything's been what it should be. And for some reason, they've got this nagging, is that it?
Okay.
Should there be more to this? They have this question. And I know what this question comes from. It is the baggage of knowing you are living in these beliefs. And there's more to you than your story. And we all get an inkling of this. Let me give you a glimpse of this. I'm 12 years old. I used to stay at a cabin on a lake my grandparents owned in the summertime. I'm 12 years old, a beautiful August summer evening. I walk down on the dock on the lake, put out my sleeping bag, lie down, look up at the sky. And it is a stunning array of stars. And for a moment, your entire sense of life is just, oh, wow, wonder. That is you behind the story. That is just that loving, beautiful life that's there all the time.
Yeah.
And when I'm 60 years old, I can go walk down on that same dock and out on that wharf, lay down my sleeping bag, lie down and look up at that starry sky and have the exact same experience.
Yep.
That's who we are. Ask anyone to look into a new baby's face, and what do they all see? Every human being sees the same thing. We see love, beauty, and happiness.
Yep.
That's a human being before a story, before the baggage, before experience. That's a human being. My mother's face on her deathbed was the same as the baby's.
Wow.
It was just beauty, love, and happiness, a human being.
Yeah. Yep.
The story is what we have to come to terms with.
Yep. I get you.
It's simple and it's really hard.
Yeah. Once we can get our head around these things, we can But yeah, we don't want to, because we want to blame everyone else and all those types of things. We should probably wrap it up there, Dallas. It was really great to have you on the show, and I really appreciate your story and your time, and it's been great having a chat with you. We'll leave a link to your books in the description. Do you have any, like a bundle where they come in a bundle or anything like that? Because it sounds like it'd be really good to read all 4 of them.
This latest book is by far the best
Okay. So
real vision of what I'm talking about. That's
okay,
the gift is the present.
So, because before you were talking about the series, but if someone wanted to potentially just start off and they wanted to just buy one, you'd recommend the gift to start with. Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And potentially if you were going through cancer, maybe the cancer one, but the gift is a good place to start. We'll leave a link. Is that on Amazon? Is that where people buy
Yeah.
it? Oh, yeah, Amazon. Yeah, cool. All right. No worries, Dallas. Well, thanks heaps for your time this morning. It's been great chatting with you. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you like what we're doing. Show support to the channel. And yeah, we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers, Dallas. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel.